So deep in this mess is something that smells amazing, and it is lemongrass. Oh my gosh, this stuff smells amazing. So this is my first year growing lemongrass, and I bought it as a start from a woman in town, and so I didn't start it from seed, and I didn't even really know what I wanted to do with it, except for the fact that it is my favorite essential oil. So what I'm going to do today is just clip it, harvest it, and then I looked up a few ways to store it, and I'm just going to show you one of those ways, and it's super easy. And then you can use it to infuse different, if you want to infuse rice. I've actually thought about infusing some like olive oil and using that either in cooking or just as like a body oil. I don't have any idea how well it infuses into oils. I've never done it. I didn't look that up. I'm just going to kind of experiment and try it. And so, yeah, let's harvest some. So you can see the plant here. It is fully shaded right now, and I do think that lemongrass wants full sun. I accidentally put it in a spot that just is not getting it. But this whole area smells seriously so good. And this is, I believe it's a tropical plant because it's typically found in like Asian dishes. I guess that doesn't make it a tropical plant, but I'm pretty sure it likes tropical settings. So what is this guy over here? This looks like a spinach of some sort. Okay. So I'm gonna separate these from the tomatoes that it is right next to, just so that they're easy to clip. And I think, you know what? Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna rip this whole plant out, because I don't think it's a perennial. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. And yeah, let's just rip it all out, and then I'll cut it in a different area. Here we go. Let's try this. Come on, lemongrass. Oh, just kidding. That's not gonna work. Got my clippers. All right, so we're just gonna clip this close to the base. We have some that are bigger here, and that is fabulous. So I'm just gonna come in here and just go to town on this guy. Maybe I'll just leave it in here. Who knows? It could be perennial. I have not looked that up. Maybe not in my zone. It's pretty cold here in Minnesota. We are a 4A where we're at, and there's a couple weeks of this winter that it gets you down to like probably a negative 30. So no idea if this would be hardy here over winter. My guess is probably not. But we're gonna clip all this. Wow, this smells seriously amazing. Oh, look at these beautiful stalks. Oh, wow. Okay. All right, here we go. Lemongrass. Okay, so here's what I left. Just kind of left them down as little stalks here. This seriously, this seriously smells so good. And we're gonna grab these lemongrass, or bring them inside, and we will wrap them up. So it's like a big bouquet of lemongrass. It's so pretty. Okay, so what we're going to be doing today is called binding. And what that means is we're going to remove the outer layers of the lemongrass, kind of those tough outer layers. Those are going to be probably between like 2 to 5 layers, just kind of depending on the size of your stalks. Now mine are not huge, and so it only took like 2 or 3. But you can see here that the outside is really tough, and then you kind of expose the inner, which is really like fragrant, and it has like a tenderness to it. So you can just definitely tell that it is that's the part that you want to use. So this is a pile that I've already worked on. You can see the tender shoots on the inside here. That's what we're going to be binding. This center pile is the one I still need to work on. Now I'm going to show you what not to do. So you do want to be fairly delicate with these. You don't want to compromise your your lemongrass. You know, you don't want to affect the aroma or the flavor. And so this, what I just did here is peel that back really harshly. Definitely don't do that because you do damage those tender shoots on the inside. And that will, you know, allow air to get in, and it can dry them out if you don't want them to dry out. You just want to keep that moisture intact. So if you actually take your finger and slide it down the outside of the blade of grass, you can see where it kind of just folds around itself. You can just kind of score it down the side and it comes off really nicely. And that's really what you want to do. You want to be really delicate with these. You just don't want to damage them. So as we're down to the last little bit here, this is where we're going to get to the binding. And what that means is that we're going to fold it against itself 2 or 3 times, depending on the size of your lemongrass. And then you just take the remaining grass, the blades that are remaining, and you will just wrap that around itself. And you're kind of creating like its own little pouch, for lack of a better term. And you want to experiment a little bit. Took me a little while to figure out how exactly I wanted to do this. You just have to experiment and see what works best for your hands and your dexterity and everything like that. So I seemed to like to hold the blade in place and then move the lemongrass kind of bundle rather than the blade of grass itself. Then you just wrap it around the end and tuck it to seal it. Now, if you allow these to wilt a little bit, you will have better grass to work with when you're wrapping here. Mine is very fresh, and so it is a little crunchy and crisp. But they do say that if you let it just kind of sit out in the sun for a little bit, let it wilt, it might wrap a little better for you. But overall, that is a lemongrass bind right there. So if you look at the pile that I have here, I have some large stalks and then I have these really little ones. What I'm going to do with those, I'm not going to bind those. I'm going to chop those up into little 1-inch pieces and I'm going to make a tea with those. So, but here I'm going to practice binding a few more times for you guys to see, just to see it up close. This one has a little bit better lighting. But again, like I said, you just have to keep practicing and you'll get better. I realized that I did get better as I went. And it's actually fairly fun and therapeutic, and I'm really happy that I decided to do this with my lemongrass. Now, what you want to do when you're done binding them all is put them in like an airtight container or a Ziploc bag and just put them in your freezer, and that will preserve them. So you can just take one out and use it for whenever you'd like to add it to, you know, stews or soups, or you can add it to rice to flavor rice. You can definitely take it out, chop it up, and add it to anything as a, you know, fresh addition, or make tea with it, which we'll do a little bit later here. But lemongrass is it's hard to chew. So if you do chop it up and put it in something, you do want to chop it up very small. So I have my discard there, my binded piles, and then I have these 2 other piles here. This one right here, we are going to just wrap it, and I'm just going to hang dry that. At some point, once that's dried, I will turn that into a infused oil. That is so good. You guys, I just made fresh lemongrass tea, and it is seriously so good.
What's that?
Mm.
What is that?
Oh my gosh, it's so good. Seriously. It really is. You want to try it?
No thanks.
It's lemongrass tea. Just try it. It's sweet. It's so good.
Let's see if we try it first.
For real?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's so good.